Death Parade looks like a dark game show. Two people die at the same time, wake up in a mysterious bar, and are forced to play a game. Darts, bowling, air hockey, with their memories and their souls on the line. The winner gets reincarnated. The loser gets sent into the void. It sounds like a simple premise, but that is not what this show is actually doing. What Death Parade is really asking, from the very first episode to the last, is whether anyone has ever been qualified to judge another human being. And the answer it keeps arriving at, quietly and devastatingly, is no. Not the arbiters, not the system, not you, not me. And by the end of this video, that answer is going to make you think about the last time you decided who someone was based on one moment of their worst. The story takes place in a bar called Quindecim, a place between life and death, where souls arrive in pairs, always two people who died at the same moment. They have no memory of how they died. They only know they're here and that they have to play a game. The bartender is an arbiter named Decim, tall, pale, almost completely emotionless. He watches, he listens, and when the game ends, he makes his judgment. Reincarnation or the void. Life again or nothing. Decim is not cruel. He is precise. He follows the rules of the system he was built inside completely and without question. He believes the games reveal the true nature of a person's soul, that when people are pushed to their absolute limits, what comes out is who they really are. Strip away the social performance, the careful self-presentation, the version of themselves they show the world, and what's left underneath is the truth. That's the logic the entire system runs on. And for the first few episodes, it seems to work. People panic under pressure. Dark things surface. Decim watches and judges. But there is a woman sitting at the bar who doesn't fit the system. She arrived with no partner, no game, and no memory of her own name. And she is the crack in everything Decim believes, because she feels things he was never designed to feel, and sees things the system was never designed to see. Every episode of Death Parade introduces two new souls and a new game, and what the show does with complete deliberateness is make you judge them before it shows you the full picture. The first episode opens with a married couple playing darts, and the game turns them against each other in ways that feel genuinely ugly. Accusations surface, cruelty comes out. You watch them and you form an opinion. You decide who the good one is and who the bad one is, and then the episode ends and you find out you were only seeing fragments. That's the structure the show repeats with devastating consistency. Every pair of souls comes in carrying a story you don't know yet. The games are designed to provoke extreme emotional responses: fear, anger, desperation, betrayal. And those responses look like character revelation. They look like truth. But what they actually are people behaving in ways no human being was ever designed to behave, under conditions no human being was ever designed to face, being judged by a system that was built without ever experiencing what it feels like to be human. Decim judges people on their worst moments, the moments when they're most terrified, most confused, most stripped of everything that usually holds them together. And the show keeps asking the same quiet question underneath every episode. If someone showed you only your worst moment, the one where everything broke and you did something you can't explain, would that be a fair picture of who you are? Would that moment deserve to define your entire existence? Death Parade's answer is no. And it builds that argument so carefully across 12 episodes that by the time it lands, you don't just agree with it intellectually, you feel it. Because at some point while watching, you realize you've been doing exactly what Decim does, judging people on fragments and calling it understanding. The woman with no name is the most important character in Death Parade, not because of what she does, but because of what she forces Decim to confront. She watches the games alongside him and she reacts the way a human would, with empathy, with anger, with grief. She questions his judgments. She pushes back on the system. She makes him feel something he was never supposed to feel: doubt. And doubt, for an arbiter whose entire purpose is certainty, is catastrophic. Because here is the flaw at the center of everything Death Parade is building. Decim was created to judge human souls, but he was created without human experience. He has never loved anyone. He has never lost anyone. He has never made a decision in the dark with incomplete information and lived with the consequences. He has never been desperate or terrified or broken in the way the people who sit across from him have been. He is perfectly qualified by the system standards and completely unqualified by any honest standard. And the show knows it, and eventually, slowly, Decim starts to know it too. The most devastating moment in Death Parade is not a game. It is Decim realizing that he has been sending people into the void based on judgments he was never equipped to make, that the system he trusted completely was built on a foundation that was always going to get people wrong, and that there is nothing he can do to take any of it back. Here is what Death Parade is actually about. Not death, not game shows, not the afterlife. It is about the gap between who a person is and who they appear to be in their worst moment. And it is asking whether that gap has ever been taken seriously by the systems and the people doing the judging. Think about how judgment works in the real world. Criminal sentencing. A person stands in a courtroom and a judge decides their fate based on the worst thing they ever did. Not the full context of their life, not the circumstances that built them into someone capable of that moment, just the moment itself, and whatever fragments of story made it into the record. Studies have shown that sentencing outcomes change based on whether the judge is hungry or rested, whether the defendant looks remorseful, whether they speak well. The system calls this justice. Death Parade would call it exactly what Decim does. Judgment delivered with certainty by someone missing most of the picture. Social media does this every single day. Someone says something wrong, or something that looks wrong out of context, and within hours, thousands of people who know nothing about them have decided exactly who they are. The pile-on feels like truth revealing itself. It feels like the real person finally being exposed. But what it actually is, almost every single time, is a fragment. One moment, one version of someone under a specific pressure, in a specific context that nobody outside it fully understands. And the judgment comes anyway, fast and certain and permanent. Death Parade was made in 2015, but the question it's asking has never been more relevant than right now, in a world where one moment can define a person forever, where algorithms surface our worst and bury our context, where everyone has access to the judgment seat and almost nobody stops to ask whether they're actually qualified to sit in it. Decim learned too late that certainty without empathy is not justice, it's just power dressed up in a system. The question the show leaves you with is quieter than that. Think about the last person you wrote off, the last judgment you made quickly and completely. Did you have the full picture? Or were you just playing the game? The void doesn't care if you were right.